Republican candidate for the South Bronx congressional seat of the departing Representative Jose Serrano in New York's 15th Congressional District. Patrick has spent over 20 years in higher education, teaching history and serving as a research fellow at Columbia University and traveling to Africa. He is so far the lone Republican in the race, but the Democrats will be facing a primary with a cabal of left-wingers seeking nomination. Curtis Lewa couldn't be here tonight. He had another commitment, another emergency engagement. So I'm going to do the honor of welcoming and introducing Patrick Delices. Let's give him a big hand.
Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. How's everyone today? Good? How's the soup and the salad? Good? Everyone's having a good time. Great. Well, I'm happy to be here today, and thank you for inviting me to the oldest Republican club in this nation. And I sincerely appreciate that. So it's an honor to be here. There are several things I would like to talk to you about. Hopefully, I will not keep you here till tomorrow morning. So I'll keep this brief and short. My congressional district is in the Bronx, 15th Congressional District, mainly in the South Bronx. My congressional district is the poorest congressional district in the United States. Not only is the poorest congressional district in the United States, it is the most crime-infested district in the United States as well. More crime has been committed in the South Bronx than any place else. The South Bronx also has the highest illiteracy rate. That's why when we speak about education, I'm the right candidate. I have 4 or 5 graduate degrees. I have an MBA from a top business school in finance, global business, business law. I have 2 degrees, graduate degrees from Columbia University. I have more degrees than the Democratic candidates who are running for this seat combined. That's why they're afraid to confront me and have a little chat, friendly chat and debate. Not only is my district the poorest congressional district, not only does my district has the highest illiteracy rate, it also has the highest dropout rate out of all the boroughs in New York. Not only does it have the highest dropout rate, it also has the highest obesity rate and the highest asthma rate. Now, I say all of this to say to you, these problems have been ongoing in the Bronx for decades upon decades upon decades. And decades upon decades upon decades, the people in the Bronx keep voting for Democrats. And they need to make that connection between the problems that plague the Bronx and the people that they elect who are not representing them. And this is a huge, huge problem that people need to confront and people need to understand. Other issues is the fact that there's a lot of attention on President Donald Trump, right? And the press play games. They're slick. And let me show how they're slick. And this is why they avoid having a conversation with me and inviting me to these media outlets. For example, there's a lot of focus on illegal immigrants and how they're being treated. And they blame the Republican Party for it, including President Donald Trump. But why is it that they're focusing on illegal immigrants and how they're being treated? First of all, you broke the law to come here. What nation in the world allow people to cross their borders illegally? That's just international security issues. Right? Number two, we have a situation here in the United States, and because I'm from the South Bronx, I'll use the Bronx as an example, where more children in the South Bronx, right? They talk about children being separated from their parents with this illegal immigration. There's more children in the South Bronx that are being separated from their parents because of family courts. And we got Democratic judges, Democratic lawyers, Democratic administration that handles these cases. And instead of creating a system where we could keep these families together, and I'm not talking about families where abuse is taking place. I'm just talking about the simple fact that the press is not focusing on the fact that you have a Democratic Party that separates legal citizens, their children, from their family through a vicious cycle of a family court system. And no one is giving press to that. I'll give you another example. The media is fixated on investigating Donald Trump, President Donald Trump. Am I right or wrong? Why is no one investigating Joe Biden and his son? Fair is fair. Right? Let's investigate Joe Biden and his son. Yes. So these are the things I try to bring out. And when I go around in the South Bronx and I talk to people, one thing you may not know about the South Bronx is the fact that my congressional district, besides being the 4th congressional district, is also the most Democratic majority-run district in the United States. And now people need to understand that's why the South Bronx has the problems that they have. Now, for those of you that are not familiar with my district, let me say a couple of words. If I say Yankee Stadium, that's my district. If I say Bronx Zoo, and lately the Bronx Zoo's been on the news with that young lady with the lion. But the Bronx Zoo, that's my district. Part of it. Botanical Garden, that's part of my district as well. So is Hunts Point, Longwood Avenue, which is a historical district avenue. These are part of my district. But yet, unemployment in the South Bronx is at an all-time high. No one is talking about economic justice for the people in the South Bronx. No one's talking about injecting job training for these people in the South Bronx. Educational access and affordability for the people in the South Bronx. There's a focus, and when we keep focusing on people who are crossing our borders illegally, and we have a mayor and a governor who wants to provide them with free health care, but you got homeless veterans on the subway, in the streets of New York, without any health care, without any assistance. There's a problem, ladies and gentlemen. Now, and I'm going to wrap it up, but if we support each other, we could take back New York City, we could take back New York State, and we could take back Congress.
Yes.
Now, when you look at New York, the majority of individuals who sit in city council, they're Democrats. The majority of individuals in the state assembly, they're Democrats. The majority of individuals who are in Congress in New York are Democrats. We have 2 Democratic senators from New York. We have a Democratic governor. We have a Democratic mayor. Right? And one needs to ask, has the quality of life changed in New York? People are so fixated with the Green New Deal. How in the world are you going to fix and solve global warming and all the environmental crises they're proclaiming when you can't even solve the problems in nature? You can't even solve the problems in nature. They want to close Rikers Island, and they can't even fix the problems at Rikers Island. And they want to spend $10.5 billion to put another Rikers Island in the Bronx. The Bronx already has 5 prisons. The kids in the Bronx, they don't need to be next to another prison. They need to be next to doctors, lawyers, teachers, artists, educators, professionals, so they can see that there's a better way of life. That's right. So they need these opportunities. Now, we could take back New York City. We could take back New York State. We could take back this nation if we support each other. And we need to support each other. Yes, I'm from the Boogie Down Bronx, home of hip hop, but I support you in Queens. I'm here to support you. And it is my hope you're here to support me. With that said, any contribution that you're willing to make, no amount is too small. I'm willing to take it, but it's beyond financial contribution, right? Any support. Spread the word about my campaign. I'll give you flyers. Put it on social media. Share it with your friends and family. If you have young adults who want to campaign with me, give them my information. So I need all the support that I can get. Thank you so much. And if there's questions, I'm willing to take some. Yes, sir.
In your district in the Bronx.
First of all, I love what you have to say about we need to put Americans first instead of putting illegal aliens first. That's a very, very important point. Now, in your district, is there an issue with the illegal aliens in your district? Or is there a district that mainly is impoverished Americans? And if there is illegal aliens, do you support stringent enforcement of the law, sending them back where they came from so we can help Americans?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There is, in my district, illegal immigrants. They're there. So I definitely support enforcement because it is, not only is it a security issue, it's an economic issue as well. As a taxpayer, why are we using our taxpayer money to fund health care for illegal immigrants? So where that money should actually go to our veterans and help them out. I mean, they did serve and protect. So that's very important. So yes, there's a huge illegal immigration population in my district. Any other questions? No, they can't vote. But let me say this, possibly indirectly through family members and things of that nature.
How do we improve the education system in the Bronx? Because that's really needed. Kids are our future, and I feel that's where we should be putting forward effort.
By electing me for the House of Congress for the 15th Congressional District. I'll put it in shape. There's a lot of things that we could do. For example, I would not turn down the deal with Amazon. That's one thing. I would have pushed that, in particularly in a district that has one of the highest unemployment rates in this nation. So with jobs, you have wealth. You could build wealth with employment opportunity and with education opportunity as well. And with education, employment, crime diminishes. So that's very important. And Amazon was willing to provide workers with a nice package in terms of paying for school, in terms of providing additional training. So that's one aspect. The other aspect is this. Instead of spending $10.5 billion on closing Rikers and putting it elsewhere, they could use that money to change and revamp the educational system, not only in the South Bronx, but in New York City and New York State, because we desperately need an educational system that truly empowers our students to get them advanced. We live in a global, competitive environment, and our students, our children, need to have master certain academic subjects, particularly in the STEM, with science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and medicine as well. So I would use that money and I would funnel it to education instead of giving it to the prison system and closing Rikers. It makes no sense. If you can't fix Rikers, what makes you think you're going to fix the other prison system? Yes?
Which area in your district, what police precincts are there?
Well, this is another thing. When I mention my district, one of the most famous precincts is the 41st precinct, which is right next to me. And some people say 41st precinct, what is he talking about? Get him off the mic. But the 41st precinct is Fort Apache, what used to be known as Fort Apache. So there's a lot of different police precincts in the South Bronx.
Exact ones would you recover? Area.
There's a lot. 41, 42, 43, 47.
So anyone else's houses with that?
Yes,
In your area?
Yes.
Where a police officer was just
correct. And my area is where Officer Minnesota was shot execution style also. Same area. And my area, and I don't know if this made the press, where a young lady in the park, her body parts were found in a garbage bag. So, again, it is one of the most violent districts in the United States. One last question?
I have one question.
Yes.
The South Bronx is one of the highest teen pregnancy in the country. What are you going to do about it if you become vaccinated?
Yes, the South Bronx, thank you for that statistic, also has one of the highest teenage pregnancy. And what you do to combat that is you provide education as early as possible to address that particular issue in terms of teenage pregnancy. And not only that, because I used to work in non-for-profit organizations that dealt with teenage pregnancy. And one thing that is good about it is you invite individuals who used to be teenage mothers, and you have them talk to students in high school about it. And once that reality settles in, you could diminish, again with education, teenage pregnancy rate in my district. Also, you get religious leaders involved. You get parents involved. You get doctors involved to have these discussions with these young ladies in terms of reducing teenage pregnancy and in terms of practicing abstinence and some other aspects that will prevent teenage pregnancy in the Bronx. Any other questions? Going once, going, okay, last
What
one.
about an answer to teenage pregnancies about the money that will go into Planned Parenthood for doing all the abortions? What about putting them in pregnancy centers?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And putting them into education institutions as well.
And that's what the pregnancy centers do.
Absolutely.
When you send a girl to Planned Parenthood, their source of income is abortion.
Correct.
So you're killing your own. And the black population in the Bronx and in Queens is the highest rate in the country.
Absolutely.
That's what we have to.
And use social media to educate these young women as well. Thank you so much. I took all our time.
Great. Good job. Let's give it a great hand for Patrick Delices.